All right. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first BÖLLE Around the World talk, which is basically a chat between two friends or two buddies talking about interesting stuff. It doesn't always have to be about basketball, but it's just about sharing perspectives and insights from very interesting people that do very cool stuff, just like a buzzer beater a couple days ago against the second best team in the ACB. And the guy that did that shot is the one and only Mike Carlson. Hello, Mike. How's it going? How are you?
It's going good, V. It's going really good, man. It's been a fun week after hitting that shot, and everyone's so excited for me. It was my first game in the ACB, first time making it to that level, making it to the top level in Spain, the second best league, arguably in the world, because it kind of goes between. Obviously, the NBA is first, but then you got EuroLeague, which is next. But I mean, Spain has 4 teams in EuroLeague. So as far as domestic leagues go, the ACB is pretty solidly number 2.
Yes, sir. And you made that shot against the second best team in this league.
Yep, Tenerife. They're having a really good year. They have Marcelino Huertas, who played in EuroLeague for many years, was on the Lakers for a little bit. Had a decent. I wouldn't say he played all that great in the NBA. He stayed there. He was there for 2 or 3 years, but then his home and his where he plays better is definitely here in Europe. And at 37 or 38 years old, he's having one of his best seasons this year with Tenerife. So they got him, another big guy named Shermadini, and I won't give you the whole breakdown of the scouting report, but a great 3-point shooting team, and they got a dominant big man inside, and then running the show they got Huertas, so they're really solid up and down.
So tell us about this game winner you had, like into detail. So this is Saturday, right?
This was Saturday. It was an awesome day for me, not just because I hit that shot, but it was also, like I said, it was my first game in the ACB. It was my first game in any first division over here in Europe. This is my 7th year as a pro. In the 6 previous seasons, I had been all in second division. And the club that I signed with right now, we are currently in last place in the ACB. But I have played for these guys earlier. I played for them in 2016-17, and we won the championship in second division to go up to the first division. And they signed me back. They really liked the way I play. So I came back and was super excited. But after I signed my contract, when I was back home, I ended up getting hurt. Tore my meniscus in a pretty bad way. And it was one of those injuries. You know how it works over here, man. Like you kind of got to take care of yourself, because the clubs, like, everyone's on 1-year deals over here. So they're just going to get you hustled back into games and get as much as they can out of you without really caring about your future. And that's the business. It's not a great model. It's not a great model for longevity. I think that's its own discussion in and of itself. But as a player, you got to take care of yourself. You got to do what's best for you in those moments. And what was best for me was to get out of my contract in the ACB and do my rehab and have surgery back home and take care of my stuff there. So I had the opportunity, and then, I worked so hard for it. And then just like that, it was taken away back in the summer. That would have been summer of 2017. So
Yeah, it was
bounced around.
my
That
junior
was,
year, right? Yeah.
yeah. Cause we were training, right? Until you went back to Switzerland, because you went back to Switzerland that
Yeah,
fall.
I think we trained even end of my sophomore year before I got hurt.
So for those who aren't aware of the connection between Veed and I, he went to the University of Wisconsin Superior, which is where I'm from and where my dad used to coach at, and he's a professor at that university. And we met. Gosh, what year did we meet, Veed?
Dude, it was definitely my sophomore year. I see this long, tall dude on my court. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Why does he have a molten basketball? Let me go talk to this man. And that's how we met. I was like, why do you have this ball? And they're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
going overseas. I'm like, Jesus, let's work out together.
Yeah,
That's
no, you were a little chunky back then too, man. I
yeah,
remember that.
bro. Chubby.
You had just a little baby fat on you, that's for
Well,
sure.
then it might have been my freshman year. Yeah, man.
I think it was. I think it was.
We did even play some pickup. I remember it was like with Brian and Zach Schradel, like
Hmm.
the field house. Yeah, good times, man.
No, yeah, but then, I mean, I'll be honest, like, well, you know how I am now, but like I'm pretty. I wouldn't say I'm super picky with who I work out with, but like I don't really waste my time with guys who aren't about it, or I just move past them and just kind of do my own thing. But no, between you and Mac, it was nice to have a couple guys who were playing there who were really wanted to get better and really wanted to work hard and really wanted to just be in the gym in the summer, man. And I mean, as you get older, like you need some guys around you. You need some good guys. I mean, I always say as you get older, just in general, you need some good dudes around you to keep you accountable and to keep pushing and to keep doing that. So I thought it was pretty cool that um, we were able to make that connection, even though we definitely had plenty of ups and downs with our injuries and that kind of stuff. Because I mean, you more than me, but we've both been through it in that sense. But yeah, no, man, that's how I met way back when. And so in 2017, when I got hurt in that summer, and then when you got hurt, you got hurt in preseason, right? So I had my surgery. I was rehabbing, and then that's when you got hurt. I think I got the timeline, right?
You got hurt. You stay in Superior, and you come
Yeah.
watch me play some game or watch us play. And
Yeah.
and we did shoot a lot mid-season too. I remember, and that did help me. And I mean, I liked the fact that you would watch my game and you could be like you did this, you did that. So that was pretty cool. And then we went back, and then I got hurt. Yeah, I got hurt the year when you went back, and then I did go back to Switzerland, and that was the time where I was able to come watch you hoop in Italy.
So that would have been the year after I
Yes,
got hurt.
yes,
Okay. Yep. 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 Okay. Okay. So that would have been the summer of 18.
yes.
Like we had been when you were around, we had been good, but you weren't around. But then that summer you were around a lot, and we really got after it. But no, that was good. So I mean, to kind of tie this thing back to the me getting my shot at the ACB, after I took that contract back and we played injury roulette between you and me, I yeah, I I got back. I went to Italy. I chased some money in Italy because that's what was available at the time, and it was good money and decent competition. Didn't really like Italy though. My dream was always to be in Spain, and me and my girl were getting pretty serious, so staying in Italy wasn't like a really long-term thing. But I don't know, man. Italy basketball was weird. What did you think? Like, you came and watched one of those games in Italy. I know you've seen me play in Leboro and in Spain. Did you notice a difference between those two leagues, or what did you think?
Um, well, I could see the difference in like the level. It's like
As
just what you said the other day. Like the attention to detail isn't as sharp in that Italian league than it was in Spain. Um,
Yeah.
and also all the other crap that you would mention that this league would bring, or the team or the club, just how they handle
Mhm.
like outside.
Yeah, that's that's the whole business side of this thing, man, that I don't really enjoy if I'm being honest with you. So we're getting way sidetracked here. I cannot keep this conversation in a straight line.
We can
Anyway,
tap it
long
differently. So Mike
will
goes from hitting we go backwards in time now. So Mike goes from hitting a shot in the ACB back to playing in Italy for several
well
years.
let's talk about this year, because for everybody it was a weird year overall, but like in the basketball market, it got jacked up equally as much. And I mean, this summer I had my goal was to play in a first division, like because I played 6 years in second division. I'm like, you know what, I've done enough. I've had solid numbers every single year. I've just been consistent, doing the same thing. I felt like last 2 years in Italy, my game really got a lot more dynamic defensively. I just became a lot more solid because the team that I was on, it was like you had to bring a lot more to the table to be successful. Whereas like in Spain, it's like do your job, like do your role. And whereas in Italy, it's like you're the American, do everything. And I think I mean, take that for what it is, but that's really how it is. And some guys really like that. They don't want to be a part of the team. And I thought, my Italian teammates they always told me, they're like, Mike, you're not like the other Americans. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you pass the ball, you like do something. I'm like, well, yeah, like I'm not James Harden out here. Like it's not just like give me the ball and I'm going to go give you 35 and 12. Like I'm not that kind of player. Like I need good guards. I need um, guys with space. I know to really get the most out of me. I bring out the best in my teammates. So if there's better players around me, I play better. If there's worse players around me, like I don't look as good. So to be thrown in that situation in Italy where it's like you're the American, do everything, it was just kind of like it was a new experience for me. It was different, and result, like while I had my own personal quarrels with it, I think it helped me grow a lot as a player. So you can't, I can't be mad at that, because my goal has always been to just be the best player I could be. And like as corny as it sounds, as cliche as it sounds, like that's really it for me. Because like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm 29 and I'm still able to play basketball. If you would have told me this when I was 16 or 17, I would have been like, are you kidding me? Like you've been just balling out for the past however long you want to say, professionally 7 years, college 5, like it's insane. But anyway, so this summer I wanted to make a first division team, and I was getting interest.
Yeah, like when you say first division, like he's talking about he wanted to make the jump from good basketball nations like Italy, Spain, France, and not being the second league in these countries.
Yeah, no, because my goal is like to make it easier. Is I always wanted to play Euro Cup or Basketball Champions League, one of those international competitions. Because like, let's be honest, I'm a basketball player. I want to play basketball. I don't want to play one game a week like they do in most of the leagues. If you only play in that one league, like I want to play 2 games a week. I want to play 3 games in a week. I want to be traveling. I want to do this. Like you want to play, man. Like players want to play. They don't want to practice, all the time. So, I mean, that, I don't like those countries were my goal, because they're the best leagues, right? Like the BBL in Germany, Pro A in France, Serie A in Italy, and the ACB in Spain. Those are some damn good basketball leagues. So that's what I had my eyes set on, and I was getting a lot of interest from the BBL and another handful of teams from various countries. But the thing is that was really interesting is the way the market was going this year, with there not being a G League, or they weren't sure when the G League was going to start. That's the NBA second division. And a lot of the G League guys were entering into the European market. So basically, what that did for me is it pushed me to, like, I was always the third guy, maybe G League guy that's, maybe a little bit taller, more athletic than I am, stronger than I am, shoots a decent percentage from three, and they want to bring him in at my position because of his size, because of his defense, like that stuff that when you watch me play, I don't really pop off on tape with that. Like, I'm not getting a lot of blocks. I'm not, catching oops or dunking like that, like those guys are. And so they're the teams, like, I think I had teams say that they were interested in me, and this is just in the BBL now, and then end up taking a former G League player over me. And that happened once in June, and then a handful of times in August. And in August, I'm sitting there and I'm going, this sucks, because that's normally when you sign like that. I was expecting to go, like, I thought it was going to be a good market for me, because teams were going to want players who, I'm not like I don't want to sell myself short here, but at the same time, like, I'm not a super, like, expensive player. How would you put that? Like, you can get me very reasonably priced for what I bring to the table. Like, I'm a good value.
You're worth.
And yeah, but the thing is, like, with my experience, with my work ethic, with how I live my life, with this, you're not going to have any problems with me off the court. You're not going to do this. And I'm like, that's what teams are going to want this year. Because with all this COVID, with all this stuff, like, they're just going to want to put, like, a solid team with a limited budget, because obviously sponsors, and they're not having fans. So economically, a lot of the clubs are at a different position than what they thought they would be a year ago. And it just kept happening over and over, man. Like, these teams are just signing these G League guys. And some of them are really good players. They're having really good seasons right now. But other guys, like, they just don't understand how to play. And I mean, not only that, like, you can't. I don't want to be too hard on them in the sense, because at the same time too, it's their first time living in Europe. It's their first time being this far away from home. It's the first style of basketball. Like, there's a lot of different factors that go into what makes a good European player versus what makes a good potential NBA player, So, but these teams just went with these guys, and I think took less money from these clubs, just in the sense of, like, hey, some money is better than, not playing in the G League, and they're not going to have this. So that's the way the market went. And, me and I have a Spanish girlfriend, fiance now, I should say. I have a Spanish fiance. And she was over here, and we're thinking, hey, I'm going to sign in August like I do every single year. I'll have I'll have a job. And then she quit her work at the end of July. So when I signed somewhere, she could come and stay with me. And here I am, like, August 25, and it's like another team is calling me and being like, yep, sorry, we're going to go in a different direction. And we're just like, I'm talking with Denai. Denai is my girl's name. And I'm like, Denai, I don't know what we're going to do. This isn't really looking good. I had a couple offers from second division teams that I turned down because I was waiting for something better on the horizon. And I'm just thinking, should I have taken those gigs? Like, they weren't bad gigs, but I knew if I took a second division gig and I had even even a small chance, well, not even a small chance because all these teams were interested in me. If I even had like this good of a chance to play in the first division, like I know I'm going to get to December or January of this season in a second division. I'm just going to be miserable. Like I felt like it was unfair for me to sign for a club that I didn't really want to play for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure guys will be like, well, that's stupid. Just take their money and do your job and get out of there. But like at the same time, it's like there's because you can vouch for this, but professional basketball is not a 9 to 5 job. I don't think our hours are super overly demanding, but what is demanding is that it is a lifestyle. It matters how you eat. It matters how you sleep. It matters how you train. It matters your mentality day to day to go in there. And a lot of that has to do with environment, you know? And like there's some guys that are really, really good players who just get in a bad environment and then it's just they find themselves in the hole. The club starts talking bad about them and like how they're these awful people and this and that. It's not true. It's just they aren't taking care. They either aren't taking care of themselves or they're in a bad situation where it's tough to take care of themselves and they find themselves mentally in a really bad place just because of the environment. And I didn't want to have that happen to me. I didn't. That was and after my experience, my last year in Italy, which was very, very difficult year. I chased money that year, and it was. I mean, it was nice to get some of that financial freedom, but at the same time, too, it definitely came at a price, and that was my overall mental well-being and my day-to-day in a sense. I don't want to act like it's really tough, but like there was some suffering involved in that environment every single day last year. So I really wanted to avoid that. I really wanted to be at a place where I wanted to play and in a situation where I felt like I had something to push myself for every day. And for me, that was playing in a first division. So we're at the end of August, still no job. And my girl's over here in Spain. I'm back in the States and she's struggling. And I mean, she quit her job for me. And here I am not delivering. So you can imagine how I'm just like, oh boy, like I got to get something going here. And the the governments in Europe, a couple countries started doing this like love is not tourism thing. And yeah, no, this is an important part of the story. This is going to be the little sappy part, but it is important. So this love is not tourism basically was saying that couples who aren't like married or they don't have any type of legal status, but they can show that they're together, are allowed to travel.
How do you show
And oh my gosh. So in Spain, they made certain rules like you have to show that you have a bank account together or that you've paid rent together or plane tickets or stuff like that. So we obviously didn't have, well, the thing is to get, it really makes no sense why they would say the bank account thing, because to have a shared bank account, you both have to be Spanish citizens or have Spanish residency. And if I had Spanish residency, I could travel without having to do this whole shebang. But and then obviously like with the rent and stuff, paying that together, the club has always taken care of my apartment. So we've never had an apartment together.
Yeah.
We did have some plane tickets together and we had a lot of photos in different places, like famous places. We had the Colosseum in Rome, the Parthenon in Athens, we were in Chicago, things like that. So it was like over the years we had accumulated enough stuff. We had wedding invitations together. And then we actually like were able to get on a radio show here in Spain. And then we also got a newspaper article written about us. So we threw that into like our little portfolio thing of like, hey, we're getting to that. Like, look, they're doing news stories about us over in Spain.
Yeah, like, hey guys, we are in love.
We love each other, and you guys are separating us. Like, I remember one of the radio interviews. They're like, "Do you guys feel discriminated against because of this?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I didn't even want to go there, but I'm doing it in Spanish, so I just kind of agreed with her, so I didn't have to like explain like how that was a stupid question. But no, anyway, so I finally get an approval from sent the consulate in Chicago, the Spanish consulate in Chicago. It's upwards of 25, 30 emails to try to get this thing to go through, that kind of thing. Because like my whole thing originally was like, I was like, hey, can I just go over there? Like I've played the last 6 years. I'm looking for a team, like, you know. And so that was like all of August trying to finesse. And then finally this Love Is Not Tourism thing came. They saw our portfolio. They must have read the newspaper article, felt some sort of way about it, and were like, we need to reunite this couple. And
Dude, that is crazy.
us,
that is crazy because like you if there was no love tourism thing, like
I'd be in the States.
Yeah, exactly. Because like,
or I would have taken like a really crappy job to come over here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
So and so like, I mean, that was even an adventure in of itself, because I mean, I don't want to get too much into COVID stuff, but like they weren't requiring COVID tests to travel and all this other stuff, but like I still had a COVID test. They never asked me for it in the airport. I came over here. I was really nervous because I just had this paper. Actually, they gave me a harder time traveling from Minneapolis to Chicago than when I landed in Madrid. Like it was absolutely, it was so bizarre. They were like, we can't let you on this plane. You don't have this, you don't have that. And I was like, look, I got this piece of paper right here. Like I'm good to go. And some lady finally let me through. But then when I got to Spain, I just had my passport. I had the paper. I looked at the guy and I was like, I'm not going to say a word unless he asks me something. And he just looked at the paper, looked at my passport. About, I don't know, I don't even think he read it, to be honest. I don't know what the guy was doing, if he just wanted to get, you know, go have a coffee or go on a break or something. But he just stamped me through and let me come in. And so I got into the country. And when I got here, because then I played in a city that I played in 2016, 17 here with the same club I'm playing for now. And I reached out to them and I was like, hey, like I'm here. Like I'm going to be here. Can I try? I mean, they're in the ACB this year. They're doing this. And they had a new coach and like a lot of new staff. But they were cool with it. Like they were like, yeah, like welcome, like come and do this. And I was like, awesome. Like
you played for them before?
Yes.
Okay.
When we won the league and they were in second division. So
the president knew you?
The president, no. The only guy that was still there was the GM and then the trainer, the physio, not the physio, the trainer, the guy that puts you through, that warms you up and puts you through workouts. Those are the only two of the same guys. They cleaned house. Yeah. So anyway, it was enough of a connection to get my foot in the door. And I mean, man, like I hadn't played basketball. I was super geeked up to play. And what's more is like it's the ACB, you know, it's like I'm going to get to go against like ACB caliber players. And I'm excited for it. Like it was something that I wanted to do. And I wanted to see where I was at, you know, my own personal level. And I come out in these first couple practices and I start killing. Like I'm playing really well. And like I was shooting the ball really, really, really well. And I mean, I think part of that is just because like I was super locked in, but at the same time too, I made a couple of adjustments in my hand position this summer, and they really made my jump shot a lot more consistent this year. And so I was happy that I made those adjustments. But yeah, so I start,
Wow. Like he's 29 and he's still adjusting his shot to get it to a better place.
Yeah, well, I think the reason behind adjusting it, I think you're gonna laugh at this. So we played in an ice box last year. My team in Italy, like our gym was so cold. Like it was oftentimes it was warmer outside than it was inside the gym. And
Lynn's trying to save money or what?
they didn't have heating. Like this whole it's just a nightmare. It was a disaster. They built the gym in like 90 days in like the 1980s, and they were so proud of that fact that they put up this building so quickly. And I was like, yeah, but did you insulate it? Did you put in any heating? Like, did you do anything like to make it sustainable? And I mean, the answer to that is obviously like, no, like they're proud of the 90 days of work they did, and they're going to rest their laurels on that for the next 40 years. But anyway, so we had cold gym. Your hands are like ice. It's really tough to grip the ball. And then on top of that, we had these like the balls that we used in Italy were super slick. Like if they got wet, it was over. So I think if a team came into our gym and ever shot over 30% from three, they were like on fire. Just because the ball was slipping all over the place. Your hands are cold. You can't quite get a grip on it. Like it was just a disaster. So knowing that, I was mad because I was like the ball, like I didn't feel like I had control of the basketball when I was shooting it. I was like, this is ridiculous for how much time I've put into this to not have control of the basketball. So I was like, hey, I'm going to adjust my hands a little bit to give me some more control. And it's not necessarily what I would call the most fundamentally sound thing to do. But at the same time, too, it was like, I'm not going to let a cold gym or this or that. Like I am going to control the basketball. And what ended up kind of being a side effect of that is my wrist ended up being a lot more consistent, and my hand position ended up being a lot more like easier to get to and a lot more consistent, a lot more control. And my follow through was a little bit better. And it ended up working itself out in a really good way. But like, I'm not one of those guys who is like, it has to be a certain way. It has to be super mechanical. I'm more of a fluid type of shooter. And whereas like if I'm making a tweak or an adjustment, it needs to feel natural in a sense. Like I can have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm going to let my natural feeling take it over, because the reasoning behind that is because I want it to be something that I can repeat consistently, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I make that adjustment because of the cold gym. I show up here in the ACB, and I'm playing really well in these practices. And I look at my girl and I'm like, I might have a shot on this team. I might. If push comes to shove, like it might happen. So anyway, the season starts. They are not a very good team. They're losing a bunch of games. They're just bad attitude, bad faces, not knowing how to play, not having any experience in this league, which I think is one of the biggest factors for this team, is they didn't have a lot of players who have ACB experience. And so everyone's trying to, figure it out together, and they're just sort of floundering around in the waters. But anyway, they are last in the league. They're losing a bunch of games, and Denai and I did our papers so that we can like legally become a recognized couple. They call it here in Spain, they call it pareja de hecho, which means you're not married, but you're legally recognized as a couple by the state, I guess. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's what they do here. So I'd never heard of it before. But as soon as
certified.
we did that,
You guys are
what?
like certified lovers.
There you go. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. That's, I mean, that is, as basic as that is, that's actually decently accurate to what this is. But we wanted to do that just so that we didn't run into what happened this summer with me trying to get over here and we're dependent on a team to get a visa and yada, 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 yada. That whole with the COVID stuff is like we wanted to have some more freedom and some more control. And so we ended up getting those papers done. And after that happened, I am counted now as a European player instead of an American. So then the team at that point in time had some space for me. And unfortunately, one of their guys ended up getting hurt 2 days before I got the papers done, which, I mean, it's really unfortunate for him, but luckily the injury is not as bad as everyone thought it was at the beginning. So he should be okay in a number of weeks, but it's still serious enough that I don't think he'll return to play this year, especially given the circumstances of the team. But like, have it be that way, but it opened up a spot for me to come in, and they signed me for a 1-month contract. And in my first game, we go up against the second best team in the league, who we explained it at the beginning of this whole thing. Like they got a lot of good players. They're top to bottom. They're tough. They got a deep rotation. They shoot the hell out of the ball. They got a great big man. And I mean, us being last in the league with 2 wins on the season, we're just like, we lost. The guy that we lost was our best player. And so we're like, we just want to put up a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we just don't want to get run out of the gym, which we thought was probably going to happen. Cause I mean, it's, I hate kind of that. I mean, maybe you can vouch for this a little bit. I think you got to set your expectations up to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? If you think you're going to go and you're going to just win and dominate every game and every play, like, it's not, you're going to set yourself up for failure. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So after watching enough of these guys' games, I was just like, hey, we just need to play. We just need to play with some heart and have some fight and move the ball well and just make good, solid basketball plays. And anyway, we come out and we play the first half. And I mean, I was a little nervous before the game, obviously, like you get before any game. But I told myself beforehand, I said, look, man, like I worked my ass off to get into this position. I worked my butt off to just have this shot. And I said, I'm not going to let it go by because I'm scared or because I'm overthinking things. I was like, this is basketball. At the end of the day, like, I've been doing this for years. It's something I'm obsessed with. I'm passionate about. I understand. I study. I work on a lot. And just go have fun, not in the sense of like, oh, just la-di-da, but like, be locked in, be ready to go. Just don't let the moment overwhelm me and take me out of playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Am I explaining that well?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So before the game, I was feeling pretty good. Like, body felt good. Everything felt good. Normal pregame routine. Didn't do anything crazy. And then was nervous when the ball went up and like I started on the bench. And then when my number got called, like, as soon as I stepped in the game, got my first touch, it was just instincts took over. My training took over and away we went. And didn't play amazing. Like overall in the game, I wouldn't say that it was an amazing game. First half, I don't want to say I was passive, but I wasn't really put in a position to be aggressive. So I was out there. Defense rotated well. and we were down 6 at halftime. So we go in at the half, and everybody's just kind of like, "Holy shit! Like we're down 6. Like we're hanging with these guys, you know." And I mean, I'm sure I don't know if you've played in games like this where you're kind of the big underdog and you just hang, but you're thinking the longer we can hang around,
Yeah.
the better it is for us, you know. So the third quarter comes, and we know they're going to try to come out and like punch us in the mouth and put us away. And we're just like, hey, you know, whoever's in there just got to be ready for it and just handle it. And the whole third quarter kind of stayed between that 8 points to 12 points kind of thing. And then I think it got up, I think 12 was the most it got in the third quarter. And I came in and it was a 12-point game. And I came in with like a minute and a half left in the third quarter. And uh my first points in the ACB were I caught it was they were running pick and roll. I was in the weak side corner, skip pass came to me. I should have just caught it and shot it, but I'm stupid. So I thought the guy was closing out way too fast. So I took a dribble like I was gonna go baseline on him. And he like overreacted to that. So I just like pulled the ball back, like did a step back and shot a corner 3 like off a step back and just buried it. And the guy that was guarding me, like a couple of minutes later, he goes, "You're hitting step back 3 now?" I'm like, "Hey man, it's my first game. You know, gotta make some noise somehow." And he thought that was pretty funny. No, but then so I hit that 3. We get a stop. We hit another 3. So you know, the third quarter ends and it's like, holy shit, like we're still down 6, you know? And fourth quarter comes and we're just like, we understand we're in a fight right now. You know, like the whole mentality just kind of came over. Everyone was just bought in and everyone was locked in on the bench. And we were communicating. Well, we threw some funky ass defense at them that we worked on in practice, and it worked. It bought us a couple minutes, you know, which is what we needed until they figured it out, and then we had to go back to playing man to man. But yeah, you know, watching the game back, it was pretty much we were able to spread the court, we were able to attack, we rebounded, we helped each other on the rebounds well. But the spacing was just solid and we knocked down shots and hitting those shots. Like we eventually we had a 6-point lead with 2 minutes to go. And we were like, holy cow. And you know how that I was out there. I played the whole fourth quarter and we just had a good 5 out there. You know what I'm saying? Like we found that rhythm as a group. And it was working. So coach left us out there and you know, next thing you know, we're 6 up and there's a minute left and we're like, holy shit, like we got a really good chance to win this game. So we got the ball, we're up 6, there's a minute left, and a guy, one of our guys jacks a 3 with 10 seconds on a shot clock. It was a little rushed off a shot. It was off a dribble. He rejected a ball screen and put it up. And I mean, like coach was kind of upset that he took that shot, but it's like at the same time, we need guys to take those shots, you know, like especially with the position that we're being in, we're last in the league and we're playing these guys. And it's like, hey, you make that, we got 45 seconds and we're up 9. Like the game's over.
Yeah.
So go ahead and shoot it. But like he missed that one. They come down, they get a bucket, and then we have a double dribble called in the backcourt, which wasn't a double dribble, but it was close enough. You know, if it just shouldn't be a mistake that's made at this level. And they get another bucket. So you know, there's, I think at this point in time, there's probably like 20 seconds left and we're up 2.
Yeah.
We're still up 2, right? Like we're still up 2. Like it's the second best team in the league. And
Yeah, you're thinking it's going to be a free throw game, right?
yeah, like we're good. So we get fouled, and the guy that gets fouled, he misses both.
Wow.
So, but still, they can't call timeout. So we're under 20 seconds. It's a 2-point game. We just got to get a stop, right?
Yeah.
A dude drives baseline on one of our guys. Our guy chests him up, hands in the air, no foul, but the refs called a foul. So it was a foul. So we're just like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? So now.
So they scored 6 points in 1 minute.
No, so we're still up 2. They've scored 4. So there's and when the foul was called, there was like 5 seconds left or something. Because we played pretty good defense in the last possession there. I think maybe there was under 20 seconds when the guy shot his free throw. I think there was maybe like 12 or something. So anyway, foul with 4 seconds left. Guy goes to the line, makes the first, bricks the second. And like it was one of those ones, I know you get frustrated by this, but one of those shots where you're boxing your ass out and then it just goes perfectly up and over you right to the defender, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, so I jump for it, and I'm actually like, my plan is to like kind of tip it up and then see if we can't make a play on it. And one of the other guys on our team just bats it out of bounds. So just spikes it out of bounds. And we're like, all right, well, now they're down 1 with the ball on the baseline out of bounds with 2.5 seconds left.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, we're still up. We're still winning. And they call timeout. They drop a play. And we kind of have a plan, but we don't really have the greatest plan to defend this inbounds play. And we mess up the switches, and the dude gets a wide open dunk.
Oh my God. ACB level, huh?
Wide open, dude. Like butt open. And so now we're down 1. So we had a 6-point lead with 50 seconds left. They scored 7 points in a minute to have a 1-point lead. Okay. And we go to the bench, and you can imagine how we are. We're crushed, dude. We're just like, this sucks. And because we've lost so many games, and it was just one of those moments where you're just like, this is our season, like we're playing good. We got a chance to put it away, and then we just shit the bed in the last minute of the game. Anyway, so our vet on the team, he reads the room, looks at the faces, and is just like, guys, we got a shot to win the game. And in that moment, like everyone just kind of snapped to, and it wasn't like, hey, we were just up 6 and now we're down 1. It was just kind of like, hey, we got a shot at this thing to beat the number 2 team in the league. And like, we all know we aren't a very good team. Like, it's not a secret. You know what I'm saying? So that just kind of perked everybody up. And then coach drew up a play where it was sideline out of bounds. We start with 3 guys kind of spaced out on the 3-point line, but near where the ball is. So the guy at the top of the key cuts to the corner. I was on the wing. I go to the opposite side, and then the guy in the slot is receiving a back screen from our guy who was on the baseline.
Yeah.
And then to either make a play at the rim, or the guy who set the back screen, who was our best shooter, is going to pop out. And I was the guy going to the opposite side. And so I know the play coming out there, and I look, and they put their big man. They put his name's Shermadini. He's just a giant. They put him right underneath the rim.
Tough. But yeah, continue.
He's really tough. and they put a small guy on me. And I'm like, I'm seeing how they're matching up. I'm seeing how they're lining up. And I'm like, they're going to switch everything, And it's like, I don't think we're going to get the main action that we want, which is the back screen and this. And I just thought to myself, I took a good look at the rim because I said, hey, I'm gonna space out, but I'm gonna make sure I'm a good distance back from the 3-point line because they're gonna kind of get lost on the switches with all the action, and they won't be able to get to me if I stay spaced.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have a shot to win this thing. I just gotta make sure I get my feet set, get a good look at the rim, and let it fly. So the ball goes in.
Wait. You were thinking this while this was like while this was like happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, because like we had the reason why I was thinking that is because my first 2 years I played pro, all of our late game action was similar to the play that we were running. It was a bunch of flares and back screens and sometimes some backdoor cuts and stuff like that. And it was incredibly tough to switch and incredibly tough to defend. And kind of the thing you had to be aware of on offense was just keeping that space. Like the more space you create between yourself, like the harder it is to defend because somebody's going to lose you, because they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like if I go out in a flare and I'm just hugging the 3-point line, like the guy's just, it's super easy to defend. Like he can kind of stun at somebody else. He can pinch in and he can defend multiple guys pretty easily. But if I keep, a good, 1 or 2 meters away from the 3-point line, he has to make a choice whether he stays with me or he goes with another guy. Because if he stays with me, then there's more space for another dude,
Uh-huh.
And but I just thought they were going to be worried about the main action with the guy because we had a guy who had hit 5 or 6 threes, 4 or 5 threes in that game, and they were going to be worried about him, obviously. And then so I saw that beforehand. I had the thought, and the ball came to me. It wasn't a great pass, but it was good enough. And as the ball's coming, I know I got space to get it off. I know I'm in a good spot. And I hear my coach on the sideline say, "Yeah, Mike, you got it." Like as the ball's in the air.
Like,
and I
he literally said that.
Literally said that. And like, not like, he didn't say it like, "Yes, Mike, you got it." Like intensely. He was like, "Yeah, Mike, you got it." And I mean, it's an empty gym too. So like, you can imagine that there's, you can hear everything. So I just caught it, got my feet set, got a good look at the rim, let the thing fly. It felt good coming out of my hand, and like, I'll be damned if it didn't go in and we won the game.
Wow.
No, man, it was crazy. It was an awesome moment. It was an awesome moment. I'm never gonna forget that one for the rest of my life.
Dude, neither will
That's
we.
for sure.
We won't neither. Bro, but here's when I listened to what you were just saying and explaining here, obviously hitting the shot is impressive, right? Like that's this shot like you were probably dreaming of. Since you missed your first chance at the ACB, right?
Yeah.
And but the fact that you were seeing the play and all this was going through your head, like while the ref is handing the ball or whatever, like that is just as impressive because that shows how experienced you are and how well you read the game and you understand the game,
Yeah, no, that's one of those details, man. That's
Think about
just
like how many guys would have just been like, like just nervous or like thinking like what's going to happen, like not even just be cool and like actually analyze every single option.
yeah. Well, I mean, I got a couple different stories for why I think that way, but I think the best one is this, man. When I came back from that injury, I mean, how expensive healthcare is in the States, man. Like, and I chose to have the surgery back home and take care of it that way. And so my next team that I went for, I needed some, the finances of that were very important for everything that was going on in my life. And we get to game 5 in the playoffs in a 5-game series. So it's win or go home. And for me, winning that would have meant enough money in my pocket to have a very comfortable summer. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of pressure riding on that game, right? And I needed it. I wanted it. I was just thinking all the preparation that I did for basketball. I was like, I got to be fired up, got to do this, got to do that. But like always in the back of my mind, I was thinking about the money. And played one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. I think I was 0 for 6 from 3, 0 for 2 from 2, and I even missed 2 free throws. Like I didn't make a shot. And I did rebound pretty well. I did have 3 offensive rebounds. So it wasn't a total wash, but at the same time, it did not help my team win in that situation when I needed to. And what I learned from that moment and from that loss and like everything that meant for me and going through that was the only thing that matters is the game. If you start thinking about the moment or the impact that this could have, or what is it going to mean, or what is the money or the fame or whatever, if you start thinking that way, at least for me, I'm lost. Like I'm going to play terrible. I'm not focused on the game. And going through that experience like put me in the sense that, hey, everything now is about studying the game to be the best at the game for the game's sake, not to be famous, not to do this, not to do that, just so I can be good, and I can play at a high level and keep doing what I love to do. And as soon as I had that realization, it makes the moments like last Saturday possible, because like you said, like you can get caught up in the moment, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a chance to win the game. I'm going to have a chance to do this. Whereas like what I'm locked in is like, how am I going to get open? How am I going to do? What is the defense doing? I'm just so locked in on like what is actually happening in the game that everything else outside of that, like, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, even after I hit the shot, I was excited about winning that game, but it took like 2 or 3 days to really realize the impact of like what that shot meant to me and everyone who's followed me throughout the years. And I mean, even he's just like, Mike, like, I just have one question for you after all this. I was like, what's that? He goes, was it worth it? And I was like,
hold on, you cut off for a second. Who asked you this?
My agent, he called me and because I've had the same agent and we have a really good relationship and he does things the right way. That's why he's my agent. So for him to suffer with me essentially in going since last March without a job, to arrive to this moment for him, it was tough too. You can imagine he wants to get his guys signed and in a good position, and he didn't feel like he was doing that. But at the same time, we had some different objectives this summer. But he just asked me if all everything we went through to get to that was worth it, and and it definitely was. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Good. That's good to hear, man.
So, no, man. But like I said, like the important thing for me the important thing for me while I'm playing is just to be completely locked in and focused on the game that I'm playing, and not worry about any outside. Everything else to me is a distraction at that point. And that's other guys can focus on the other stuff and do that, and like that's good for them. But this is the system that works for me. So this is how I operate.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good approach. I mean, I can't say I can relate, but it makes sense, you know. Like,
Well,
because it's at the end of the game, it's just a basketball game, and
what is
making
your
shots, right, is just it's a numbers game. So if you think about the actual game and where you're going to be open and what the defense going to do, and you get the open shot, then it's just a numbers game, you know.
yeah, 100%. Well, I mean that's the thing. That's the other thing too. If I missed that shot, would I feel like I played bad? Would I feel like I'm a worse player? Would I feel like, all those negative emotions that come with losing and that are kind of tied in? And I mean, that's where you got to make that separation,
Yeah.
But
Well, and that's what we said a couple of days ago. Looking back, even if you would have missed it, like even if you guys would have lost by 20, you would have been like, dude, this was totally worth it. I'm playing the ACB, right?
yeah, and yeah, that's exactly what my brother told me beforehand. Is after I signed with the club, he goes, man, you're gonna lace them up in that league at that level, and he goes, no one's ever gonna be able to take that away from you.
Yeah.
Which is 100% true. And I mean, that shot has definitely opened some doors. I feel like I think it's a cool story. It was a great moment, but I think the question now is, hey, we got a game on Saturday. Can I do it again?
Yeah, how is he going to perform with all these expectations now?
Yeah, not necessarily the buzzer beater part of it, but like, can I go out there and can I be a positive asset for my team? Again, can I be a solid contributing factor? Can I start to do more things? Can I play better defense? Because I got burned on a couple drives, and can I grab a couple more rebounds and make a couple more plays and and do what I do, but just at this level. And I think that's while last weekend was a great moment, it's like, hey, all right, cool, move on, like it's over. But I think that's kind of this is going to sound kind of messed up, but like I think that's the nice thing about the sort of the 24-hour news cycle that we're in, where it's like, hey, it's news, and then everyone's all jacked up and excited, and then what, and the next day they're back on their phones with the next story that's happening. So
That's the swiping generation.
there you go. But I don't think for me, I don't think that's a bad thing, and I'm never gonna forget that moment. I'm never gonna forget that shot. But at the same time, like I'll have plenty of time to think about it later in life.
Yeah.
Is probably the best way to put it,
Yeah, you just can't like stop. Like you can't just be like, all right, this is it. No, it goes on, man.
Right? I mean, it's not in like, if you look at it in the big picture of things, like that was our third win of the season. I mean, we got an uphill battle in front of us. We still have a lot overconfident about anything. And but we, at the same time, you can't take away from the fact that we did do that we showed we can compete with that caliber of a team. And you know what I'm saying? And I mean, even not so much from a team perspective, but even an individual perspective, it's like, hey, that was a good shot. It was good, but we got to worry about next week. But at the same time, it's like that memory that's in my cookie jar now, and it's like, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having some stuff, it's like, hey man, like you just practiced for a team without getting paid for so long to get to this moment, and then you'd heard so many times that you'll never be able to play in the ACB, and you don't have this to play in that level, and da 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 da, and here you are hitting a game winner.
That's a big cookie.
That's a big cookie.
Hell yeah, dude! Shout out to David Goggins with all this.
I'm glad you got that reference, man. So if anybody's out there is listening and want some basketball tips and you got game tape, hit me up
You
because
better
I
do.
will watch it and I will let you know what I think
For free, right?
for free, 100% for free.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, unless there's like a demand, then if somebody's like, hey, if I got 100 people are like, hey, check my game out, and then there's one guy that's like, hey, I'll give you $20 to check my game out. I'm going to do that guy's first.
Yeah, fair enough. No, yeah, definitely. Well, I will tag you, and like people will be able to find you on Instagram. I'll probably make a post about this on our page.
Awesome.
So yeah, they can find you everywhere and harass you. And yeah, I think
Go Star Wings.
go starving, go Mike Carlson. Hopefully. So what you? This is how crazy it is. This guy is gonna play against Barcelona in what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Yeah. Well, next week. So really
Next
like
week, yeah.
8 days or something.
Against FCB, like the Barcelona, like the team.
Oh yeah, bring it on, man.
And we talked about this on the phone the other day, dude. I hope Mirotic plays.
I do too, but I think he's got some stuff. He released a statement earlier today. It doesn't, and
Oh my god,
he's still like being super private about it. So I think it's like a family thing, man.
is it, or is it just like he's like, sheesh, this guy just made a buzzer beater?
Oh, I need to sit this one out, coach. Guy's got some pointy elbows out there. I don't want to catch any of them.
Step back threes from the corner. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, that's
No,
crazy.
so
That's crazy. I feel so blessed to be having this conversation, to be your friend. I'm looking forward to go to your wedding this summer.
hell yeah, man.
And yeah, congratulations again to that.
No, man, I feel lucky to that our paths crossed way back when, and we've been able to keep this friendship going despite
The
the
distance.
distance, the everything. But no, man, I do enjoy our conversations really, and I think you got a good perspective on things. Even though I think I talk way too much when we talk, I feel like I talk a lot, but no,
I like to. And today was like, this was about you.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, no, but no, man, it's good. I'm so happy that you're getting to experience professional basketball, that you're getting to play. And who knows, man? Who knows where you're going to arrive to, or which, what level you're going to get to. And you got the right attitude, you got the right way to go about it. And I mean, at a certain point, that's what you need, and then the rest is just kind of what happens.
yeah. Well, we can't stop. That's the good thing.
It's not in our blood type, feed.
Too stubborn.
Too stubborn, man.
Yeah, but
Well,
I
anyway,
hope I hope like all the kids listening, because there might be probably a lot of people from Switzerland, Zurich, like just appreciate this conversation. And yeah, I mean, I hope this inspires you guys to go hard, man, to get better, to set big goals, because literally anything is possible in this beautiful life we have. So
that is true. That is true. No, the young guys listening, I mean, everyone always kind of wants advice and wants this and how to get good and how to do this. And I always say the same thing. I always say, just fall in love with the game. If it becomes a real passion of yours and an obsession, and do this, like all the other work, all the other, hitting the weights, getting shots up, studying tape, all that stuff it will become instinctual, because it's what you love to do, because you love the game. So if you're a young guy and you're out there hooping, man, just fall in love with it.
yeah.
Just enjoy it. Nothing better.
Right, right. I also noticed that, like, as long as you do what you love, like I noticed that as long as I occupy my mind with basketball, it brings me good stuff. Like it
Yeah.
attracts new options in life, new people, new goals. Like it just attracts so much more. And I truly believe it's because it's the passion and the love, you create
Absolutely.
for that game.
Absolutely. No, and it's a healthy thing to be passionate about, to fall in love with. And I mean, whether it's, basketball or another sport or art or music, or
Yeah, it can be
you just
anything.
got to find, yeah, just got to find something that you're truly passionate about. And then once you find it, then who knows where it'll take you, man. That's the thing. But
That's the beauty.
you
Thank God
can't
we
it
don't know.
yeah, and the thing is, you can't fake that level of passion either. Like I've seen guys who kind of talk the talk, but it sort of ends there. I'm sure you've been around that too, where it's like, what they're saying and then like how they actually feel about it don't quite match up. So there's that balance you gotta be careful of. And we were talking about sacrifices earlier, and there is a certain level of sacrifices that you do need to make in order to be successful in anything. But the difference is how you perceive those sacrifices. Like if you're like, this is so hard, I can't do this, well, that's going to become true. But if you're like, no, I got this, like, let's see how much more I can do. How much harder can I push myself? How much more can I do this? How much, that whole perspective will change how you view those challenges. Will change how you adapt to them, will change how your mind treats them, and then that's really where you'll take off.
Totally agree, and I think this is a beautiful way to say amen, and you know, say
And now auf Wiedersehen, huh?
auf Wiedersehen. Look at you. How's your Spanish, by the way? Good?
I'm conversationally very adequate, but I still blunder quite a bit. I need to take some classes, man, to sharpen stuff up.
Yeah, I learned
But
something too. I can't call you Poppy anymore.
you most definitely cannot.
Yeah,
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Well, Veed, it's been a pleasure, man. I really
yeah.
appreciate you having me on. We'll be in touch, all right, man?
Well, yeah. You have a good night. Much
Yep,
love.
you
Stay
too.
safe. Go kill. Goodbye, bro.
See you, man.
Aber Bro, Böller ist Labe.